It's always been showing up. The medicine has always been showing up.
A little different than all the rest. I'm quite old-fashioned, wear a hat sometimes.
So I haven't showed up in the last 3 weeks, and I have been all offline doing the thing, showing up, thinking like, oh, I'm so tired. Wait, I'm not tired. Wait, I'm energized. Why do I feel better? It's because I've been with people constantly.
The baby's so cute.
Wow! I have like almost like three-pronged thesis at this point, theses. And one of the theses of this channel is showing up is the medicine. In the early 2020, we weren't seeing people, right? Like it was a difficult time for a lot of people. People were losing people. There was a grief, there was fear, there was this like unknown virus in the air. But also, I think we were losing something that was so valuable, but we didn't know we were losing it because we were not like in the future yet, you know? My friend and I, we have these very smart intellectual conversations about community, and I think the bitching and the moaning has really been almost like this gate that we have built, a wall that we have built. And I think it didn't really hit me until probably 2023, maybe 2024, because we were both people that valued community, that showed up to things. I don't think we showed up as many things, or we were deeply there as we thought. Like I think we had this idea of like we were the only ones showing up authentically. But I think what was happening, I don't want to speak for my friend, but for me at least, I would go to a place and I would expect the place to be lively and experimental and beautiful, for it to be something that it is not. And I think that is how failure happens, right? Like I was just like, how is it so difficult for me after pandemic to feel intimacy in the communities that I'm a part of? I don't know if y'all felt this, but like I felt this, like intimacy felt so fucking foreign. And I think the reason is because I would go to like a gathering and I would expect it to be this beautiful, like it's giving me everything, even though I know that's not what I wanted. I wanted it to give me everything when I haven't done the work or have put in the effort and the labor for it. And so my friend and I are having these like 5-6 hour analysis about why it's feeling difficult when we should have been out there trying to just continue to try to attempt, because that is the point of community, like, right? I think in 2023, really in 2024 is when I got really serious about like auditing how I was showing up in community. I've been reading this book and I have very conflicting ideas about it, but I really like the general consensus of like the power of now, like being in the now, not thinking in the future, not thinking in the past, but like where are we right now? Who am I talking to? It has helped me really audit my conversations, because I'm not like, oh, this conversation could be this way, or like, I don't know, like I think you come in with this idea of like what this person should be, what the space should be, what this community should be. And so when I started to really ground it in the power of now, and maybe this is sounding very like, you're like, duh, like obviously, but it wasn't so obvious for me, because I think you have to know, I have witnessed community from elders mostly, or intergenerational spaces by immigrant communities that has been made as like this space of survival. And so those spaces feel like they have like this given intimacy to them a lot of the time. And I'm like, why doesn't it feel like this when I go with my friends? And then I was like, huh, we are new adults, like of course it's gonna feel difficult. I'm in my mid-20s, like being spiteful about not having the intimacy of 40 or 60 years when that work has not gone into it. I was expecting my grandma's intimacy with my friends when my grandma has worked and put effort and does caretaking in a long time to show up in this community, to show up over and over and over and over again, resolve conflict over and over and over again, to feel that intimacy. That's how intimacy is built. But I think because of this instant gratification, we have made it that if I don't have a spark, if there's not fireworks within this community with the 2 times that I showed up this month, what's the point? Let me get out. I did this with a book club. I did this with a bunch of hobby things that I was a part of. I was just like, why does it feel so difficult? Because you don't know them, bitch. You just met them 3 years ago. Of course not. I think everything that I felt intuitive in my body, like very embodied, conditioned out of us pre-2020 was really conditioned out of us in 2020 because of the circumstances that we were under. We had a year, for me it was around 2 years, where I just did not see people or like interacted and have a kickback for 2 years. I actually took the pandemic very seriously because I was so scared. I was so scared. I had immunocompromised family members. I had an aunt in Rome who got so sick at the beginning of the pandemic that she was in the hospital. She got affected from long COVID. I was taking the shit like really seriously. And so because of that, that affected the way that I socialized with people, that I showed up in community, and it really delayed the way that I would have had those 2 years of practicing community. I just did not practice community in the way that I was imagining. Like, of course, like I was showing up for, you know, crisis stuff, emergency stuff, showing up where I was needed. But I don't think intimacy is fostered or community is fostered only in times of crisis. There's also moments of joy and ease. And that was really absent for me those 2 years. I was in this heightened fear for 2 years, as most people were. And of course, like, you know, I was also working a ton. I was working maybe 14-15 hours. That was when I took on like community organizing full time, but also I had another contract where I was doing another work because it was all relational and all these things. But I felt like a husk of myself. And while I was talking and facilitating and holding these spaces of community, I was not in the communities that I was preaching about, talking about. So it felt incredibly contradictory in the way that it feels like I was misaligned. I was very disembodied for myself. I was drinking a lot. I was using a lot of like numbing ways to just like escape so that I am not feeling that I was just laboring. I was existing to labor. My family was really comfortable at the time. It was the most money I've made in my life. And my mom was also like, you know, had a bunch of sicknesses. Like there was just like a lot of things going on. So I was like, I have to take care. But I wasn't caring for myself. I wasn't fostering those relationships. So because of that, I think like in 2024, I noticed this pattern in myself. I think I went on like a 60-day type of like sober, like no numbing substance, no nothing, like, you know, no alcohol, no edibles, where I was just with myself. What would happen? I think the other numbing substances that I took off was social media. I got off TikTok, and I think it's been now around 2 years. Like, oh yeah, this August I just hit my 2nd year being off TikTok, and I haven't been on TikTok since 2023. I think YouTube is another place that I started to really assess my relationship with. I've heard about Cal Newport's digital minimalism for so long, but I really got to I read the whole book of digital minimalism fully with my full attention, while still doing the 30-day cleanse, which is like you're not supposed to do social media, be like really as much as possible, like you're supposed to have a screen fast. Oh Lord, that was a hard time. I was buzzing, I was busy, and then I noticed this energy in myself that like I've never noticed. Oh, also I was running, so that's another thing. So I was also releasing endorphins, that also helped a lot. And all of a sudden I started craving people. I started craving humans. I started craving, oh, that sounds like I want to eat them, but like I started craving like socialization. I started craving not just socialization, but like in being in community with people. I started thinking about like intentional community making in a way that is like, as I was hitting my late 20s, I was just like, oh my God, it is time to actually do the damn thing as an adult, as a not no longer new adult, but like newish adult. And so when 2025 hit, I noticed that I was saying no to a lot of things. And I think that was practiced again because of the pandemic, because of fear, because of like protecting your peace and routines and all these things that people talk about. I love being around people. That's how I get my energy. And so I was like, solitude actually makes me feel de-energized, or is that, I don't know if that's a word, but like it makes me feel like really like tired and sullen. So I was like, okay, it is time for me to have a reinforcement that will help me be out there and say yes to more things. And that is exactly what I did. I said, any opportunity comes in that has something to do with community and obviously with people that I love and want to be in relationship with deeper, if they say, hey, you want to do this thing, I'm gonna go against the intuitive response, which is no, or like, I have to do this thing. I'm gonna say yes. And I think that has changed my life. I think that has changed my life. I think that has changed my outlook. This is something that I have learned from my family, my grandparents, especially my grandma. And I'm trying to do that with a lot of autonomy and dignity for myself too. Like not just saying yes because like, you know, like FOMO or anything, but like embodied yes. So starting in 2025 is when I really was like, okay, you're gonna say yes to things. And I mean, I also was doing low buy. So I was trying to audit a bunch of things at once. I love a challenge. And so saying yes meant way less screen fatigue than I've experienced in the last, I don't know, 4 years. That also meant really auditing some of my reactions to things. So if someone doesn't text me back, my reaction is to be like, fuck them, like I don't need this. Now I have to be like, oh, what? I wonder what's going on in their life that is preventing them from, you know, being present or like responding to this simple thing. And so I started practicing calling up people and be like, hey, I mean, I love calling up people. I've always called people, but like calling up people, like when I haven't heard from them like for a week or something, I'm like, hey, what's going on? You okay? Or like leaving a voicemail, not a voice message. Sometimes I do leave a voice message. It was just revealed to me, like, contrary to popular propaganda, solitude is not for me. Let me share something very, very recent with you. I have been on a 3-week bender, not alcohol bender, but like a 3-week like tour of like seeing my friends doing things. I was in New York, I was in Philly, and then I was in Vancouver, and then I was in Albuquerque, and then I was in Denver. This was all to either meet more people, connect with more people, or deepen relationships that I already have that are needing more time and more space. And today is maybe a week after since I've done that tour, and I feel so energized. I feel so good. And I haven't posted anything in the last 3 weeks, and that is on purpose because I've been living offline, and it's been really lovely. I think the liberatory practice that people talk about, it's this vague, huge, like we will get to it one day type of thing. I think the liberatory practice is community. The liberatory practice that is revolutionary is friendships and strong community that you can check in, call in, and find intimacy in. It's such a wild and very like default thing to say, but like you can't make memories and find intimacy unless you say yes and show up to the things that may be a little inconvenience, that may be out of the way. This weekend, I said to myself, okay, I've been on a 3-week travel, and after that work, because I'm planning this big training for my work, and it's really exciting honestly, but it's a lot of work. So I said to myself, okay, I'm gonna take Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because I'll be heading to Ethiopia in 2.5 weeks or 3 weeks. And so I said to myself, I'm gonna take this weekend to do nothing. The universe had other plans. God had other plans for me. I got the first call yesterday morning. So my weekend was pretty free. I got the first text from my friend on Wednesday, and he said, hey, you want to get coffee on Friday? There goes a slot. All right, yep, of course. I can't say no. I'm challenging myself. Remember, my friend texted us yesterday and she said, I would love to make you dinner. Like, are you available this Friday? Yep, there goes my Friday night. And then Saturday, I was like, okay, at least I have my Saturday and Sunday. My friend, she calls yesterday. This is someone that I'm still trying to get to know. She's a friend of a friend. I really like her as a person. So I'm like, this is a potential relationship that could expand, breathe, and show up in different ways. She just opened up a new, what is it called? Event planning business. And so she's like, this is gonna be my big event. It's gonna be like 100 people wedding. And I would love to shoot some like behind the scenes, and you're a person I trust with the camera. And so can you help me? There goes my Saturday evening. I was like, okay, at least I have the rest of Sunday. I have Sunday is errand day. We're gonna do nothing. My cousin says, hey, I have the K barbecue ticket from my birthday. Do you wanna come and barbecue with me? This is a question to my cousin and myself. Yep, I will do that. And Monday, it's Labor Day. No labor there. It's the last day of the state fair. And I was like, well, I'm gonna use that day. My friend says you wanna go to the state fair. Okay, wrap it up, folks. Wrap it up. Our whole weekend is booked. I think there's this thing that one of the expectations that I was having with my friend when we were talking and we were having this analysis conversation is this expectation, this aesthetic expectation of what community could be. I forgot what type of labor my grandma, my mom, my mom's mom worked and showed up in different ways just to make the aesthetic community that I saw. A lot of the time it wasn't aesthetic. I think I just romanticized it in my brain. A lot of community is spitefully and inconveniently showing up. And this is hitting me now. As a person who hates being wrong, I really do. I found that just mind-blowing. I had to think about time. I think time is very important, and that's why it's really important to hang out with like people from all generations, people that are elders, people that are littles, that are people that are youth, people that are in your age. So you can time travel a little bit around community and see its value to you. Maybe this is a hill I'm willing to die on, but I refuse to believe that protecting your energy, being solitude and online shopping and I don't know, like staring at the screen, watching other people live their life is the way find fulfillment, contentment. There are days that I feel content and there's other days that I feel so not content. And I feel like we're chasing happiness through like experiences and this like mind-boggling revolutionary interaction with a human, when a lot of the time repeated contact and repeated interaction with a human is how you build intimacy and how you build community. And I think that is the medicine. I'm probably gonna be like, oh, I wish I was at home scrolling. I wish I was at home playing with my cat. I wish I was at home gardening by myself. But I know that is something else. I don't think that's really informed by reality. I think that is informed by our threshold of being with people has really lessened or like decreased, has been minimized. It's almost like the thing you do in the middle rather than the norm. Because I know in my experience, there's this pattern. If I spend the whole weekend doing nothing, I actually do crave being around other humans, other living things. And for me, that doesn't result fulfillment or feeling energized. I think I get my energy around being other people, and a lot of people do, but we just don't know it or we don't want to say it because it's a vulnerable thing. There's this like demonization of being interdependent on other people, and your mood and your relationship and the way you show up in the world being affected by other people is seen as weak. That is capitalism and individualism propaganda that has really been just filtered through our brain. Because there is no way 3-hour TikTok or 3-hour YouTube video essay about a specific topic is going to give us the same impact or whatever. I'm sure there's a neurologist on deck who can explain this better than I can. I'm sure there's someone who's writing their dissertation at this moment about this, because I think there's something that happens with like the slow release of dopamine that comes with being in these interactions and in community with people. Like the things that are like longer, I can ride on for the whole week. Like me being solitude, maybe I will be like at peace in the moment, but I don't think that really helps me as much on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you know? I don't know.